Hello everyone, welcome to the City of La Palma's virtual recreation YouTube channel. My name is Matt and I'm a senior recreation leader for the City of La Palma. In today's episode of Guitar Music with Matt, we're going to be going over what music is and you're going to be learning your very first chord. So let's get started. Alright guys, so let's talk about what music is. Music basically is broken down into three different components. You have your rhythm, you have your harmony, and you have your melody. Now, depending on where you are in the world, in different cultures around the world, music can mean different things to different people. For example, some cultures, music mainly is just rhythmic, focusing mainly on beats and percussion kinds of instruments. Other places around the world have less of that, so it really depends on who and where you're from. Alright, so before I teach you your very first guitar chord, you're going to want to know how to actually hold the guitar. So everything I talk about is going to be from a right-hander's perspective, but if you're a lefty, just flip everything over and you'll be fine. First thing you want to do, you want to take the body of the guitar, you want to rest it right here on your right leg. You're going to take your right arm, you're going to put it right here on the body of the guitar, and your right hand is going to be resting on the right above where the strings are. Now, sometimes you might see guitar players holding their guitar on the opposite leg, kind of like this, similar. That's more of a classical guitar style way of playing. I prefer to have it on right here resting on the right leg because it's easier transition also from sitting to standing. All right, so you got your hand here rested above the strings, and what I want you to do is I want you to hold the pick in your hand like so. You're going to basically you're holding it in between your pointer finger and your thumb. Okay, so this flat longer edge right here is going to be placed right here on your pointer finger, and your thumb is going to be holding it in place like that. This kind of pointed tip area is going to be the part that actually strums the strings. So you're going to point that inwards towards the guitar strings themselves. From there, what I want you to do is I want you to go ahead and gently and fluidly strum the strings from the one that's closest to you in a downward motion, like so. Now, practice doing that fluidly because you don't want to go kind of halfway through and stop. Right? You want to make it very fluid in one motion. If you need to stop the video and practice that, go ahead and do that now. Alright, great. So now that you have that down, I want to talk about the strings for a second. There are 6 strings on a guitar, okay? And for simplicity, and especially in this video, we're going to basically just number them, 1 through 6, so that you know what I'm talking about when we go into the chords. So, if we're looking at the string that's furthest downward, it's the smallest string, it's this one right down here. That one is the first string, okay? And we're going to count upwards. So we have number 1, number 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay? So 1 through 6 from the bottom and upwards. Similarly, we also have frets that are numbered, okay? So the frets, remember, are these guys right here. And so right here at the top of the neck is the first fret. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up the length of the neck on the fretboard. And what's even easier to understand is that we also have our fingers are also numbered, right? We have our first finger, second, third, and fourth finger. So for example, if I were to say, go ahead and put your first finger on the first fret of the first string, you know exactly what I'm saying, right? So you go, okay, got my first finger. I got the first fret right here, and here's the first string. You're playing a note. Now, what's interesting is if you play the note up the neck, the second fret, it sounds a little bit higher. It sounds a little higher there. These notes are getting higher in pitch the further up the neck that you climb on the fretboard, and that's the same for all the strings. The further up the neck, the higher the pitch that you're going to be playing. Very important. In order to actually create the sound, you want to press down on the fretboard with your finger, and you want to place your finger right behind where the fret actually is, not on the fret. You'll get kind of a dull or a buzzing kind of sound, and you don't want to press down too hard because you'll get kind of a sometimes kind of a warped note, right? Not a clear sounding note. You want to place it just enough pressure so you're getting a clear sounding note. And don't worry if you don't get it right away. It's totally fine. Just practice it and you'll get it down. Now let's go ahead and talk about your very first chord. Now the very first chord I'm going to teach you is an E major chord. Or rather, the first step to learning the E major chord is to learn the baby version of an E major chord. All right? Now, what we're going to do is you're going to take your first finger, you're going to place it on the first fret of the third string. Okay? So you're going to place it right here, and here is the 1, 2, 3, the third string, and there's the first fret. You're going to press that down, just play that note. All right? Make that a clear note. And to make it a chord, remember a chord is one or two or more notes played together, right? You're going to strum those first 3 strings in a downward motion like we did before. Ready? And if you're getting kind of a muted or buzzing kind of sound, just make sure that you're arching your finger enough to where those top 2 strings are ringing clearly, okay? Now that you have that down, it's time to learn the fully grown E major chord. All right, so same position that you had before where you have the first finger on the first fret of the third string. But now what you're going to do is you're going to add your third finger, which is also your ring finger, and you're going to put it on the second fret of the fourth string. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and you're going to place it right there. And then you're going to take your middle finger or your second finger and you're going to put it on the second fret of the fifth string. Okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? So the only notes that you're pressing down with your fingers are the second fret of the fifth string, second fret of the fourth string, and the first fret of the third string. And like we did before, where you strummed all 6 strings down in one fluid motion, we're going to do that again, and you're going to get a beautiful sounding E major, full sounding E major chord, like so. Now don't worry if you're having a little trouble getting your fingers in that position. You just kind of want to work, kind of arch your fingers, make sure you're not creating any dull sounding strings. And again, that's just going to take time. It's going to take time and practice in getting your fingers to be comfortable in these kinds of shapes. Once you have that down, keep practicing that. If that's too hard, don't worry. Stick with the baby E major. That's totally fine too. And when you feel comfortable enough, come on up to the fully grown version, practice that, and next time we're going to expand and learn some more chords. Thank you again for joining me on today's episode of Guitar Music with Matt here at the City of La Palma's virtual recreation YouTube channel. Today we talked about what music is, and we also went over your very first chord. Again, my name is Matt, and I'm a senior recreation leader for the City of La Palma. And if you like today's episode, please like and subscribe to our page. Follow the city's website for more information, and follow us on Instagram and Facebook at City of La Palma. Thank you, and see you on the next one. Remember to practice. Keep on rocking.